Batwoman Season 1, Episode 20, title Oh Mouse. Now, this episode is a pretty well done episode, and knowing that this wasn't meant to be the final episode of the season, like it was meant to have 22, not 20, here's the weird thing, it works. It completely works as a final episode of a season. It kind of feels a little bit of a reminiscence to like Game of Thrones. How like the final episode of Game of Thrones was essentially just not a big crescendo. It was essentially something small and pretty much just setting up what the next season is going to have and the stories they're going to tackle. And that's basically what this episode is. It is dealing with the relationships between Kate as Batwoman and Commander Crow, her father, and how that relationship is going to form, even though I do think by episode 2 he is gone, because I do think they're going to use the swips for which was originally meant to be for episodes 21 and 22, because they're there, use some kind of mindset, right? And then they'll start by episode 3 onwards, we'll like, okay, this is officially season 2 kind of stuff. It's just that relationship and the war aspect and the battle routine, like knowing that Commander Crow, he is dedicated. You could immediately tell, like, he doesn't like vigilantes, and he does not give two shits about public concession. Like, he's like, I don't care if the public see me as the bad guy. I'm just not going to have a vigilante dressing up as a rodent being the spotlight with, basically, it's the whole thing. This one person making us look bad kind of mindset, right? And you're like, yeah, the war continues. And I think naturally Sophie's going to become the Commissioner Gordon. You know, as they mention in the episode, it does kind of remind me of Loeb. Commissioner Loeb, who's from Batman Year 1. How that relationship was between Batman and Commissioner Loeb. And then when Loeb got, I can't remember, he got arrested because, you know, it's Gotham, so he was corrupt. Gordon came in. And I think Sophie's going to become the Gordon. And we'll have that classic Batman, Commissioner Gordon relationship, but with Kate and Sophie. So, yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. Which I just think it's, there's so many stuff I was digging with this. Like, the only criticism I have in listening to this too is the action sequences. It's just like, it was a pain at the beginning where it was like, I'm watching Batwoman, I'm like, okay, that was okay with the action. And then here comes, I watched Arrow that has like kick-ass movie level John Wick, Atomic Blonde, extraction type action, and boom, here we go. And then you get some, show ass, like, like a 5-10 second fight that ends, and you're like, oh, really? That's it? Okay. I would like a little bit more. Like episode 18. Episode 18 is the episode I was like, yay, finally, the action is good. But anyway, there's a lot of things to cover. The stuff doing with Alice and Mouse, and how, Alice is very determined to find kryptonite to pierce, because it turns out kryptonite is like the only thing that can pierce a bat suit. Which I was like, so are you planning to go to Natural Sea or Tropolis to bump into a particular bull-headed guy? Is that going to be a thing? And it's like, no, it's her trying to find out what is kryptonite, what does it look like, what does it do, and because of it, Mouse is at this point where he's like, Alice, this was fun, but it's time to move on. And with that relationship basically reaching to its end, it did. You feel an emotional... I mean, this episode is all about relationships, and the relationships in this episode is really well done. I don't want to hit spoilers up. The only spoiler I'm going to hit this episode is the last, 10 seconds, because it's a big thing. But it's just... This episode is really, really good. This episode is really, really good. So I'll talk about the ending. Last 30 seconds, Alice creates a mask for Tommy Elliot, aka Hush, and it's the face, and she puts the face on, and it's the face of Bruce Wayne. So we know what a young Kevin Conroy Batman, live action Batman looks like. We know what a younger Arrowverse Bruce Wayne / Batman looks like. And I got giddy. I think it's like, even it's like, yeah, you're smiling, and you know it's not actually him, but you're like, but still, it's Bruce Wayne, it's Batman, and we all know how much of a fanboy I am over Batman, and I always said, like, Batwoman's a show, even if I hate it or loved it or what, I'm going to be determined to cover and watch every episode just because how much of a fanboy I am on Batman in the world of that section of the DC universe. So I'm curious, because essentially he's there to pretend that he's Bruce Wayne so he can get the kryptonite. And you know what's weird about it? Like, of course it's about the kryptonite thing. It's like, well, Superman and Supergirl and that kind of stuff, the Kryptonians. They kind of do the Marvel Netflix thing, where it's like the guy with the hammer and the green dude and the the guy wearing the American flag. And for Batwoman, they doing the whole thing, do wear boots, have a giant ass on his chest, wear cape. It's like, oh, a friend of mine. I'm like, why can't you say Kara Zor-El or Kara or Supergirl or something, or Superman? Like, these people. So that was a bit weird, but yeah, this is a really good episode. It's a sad thing that it's going to take. We had to wait 7 months for another episode of the show. It got announced that January will be is when all the shows will come back in 2021. At least it's not like August of 2021. At least it's January and all that. So yeah, I mean, this season has been hit or miss. I think, let's be honest, personally for me, some episodes I liked, some episodes I didn't, and 4 was like a little bit of a mess or something. But if you want to end on a high note on a season, they did a good job of that. They ended it on a high note.